Good afternoon, everybody. DJ Styles. Okay, the eyebrows are perfect the way I have them shaped right now. And what I want to get into is, okay, they're not perfect. They're near perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see they're too uniform. They're exactly the same thickness all the way through. I want to tail this off so it's a little thinner down by the end of the eyebrow. Same with the other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that right now. I'll just give you a little taste of what I do and how I do things. Okay, now where's my little knife? All right, I use an X-Acto knife, believe it or not, because I don't want to cut too far into the mask, and I kind of want to get the shape right. So what I want to do is I want to, because I'm kind of doing this as I okay, I think I all right, so I went in just about thick enough. I'm sorry for the silence, but I'm trying to concentrate as I'm cutting here because I don't want to cut too much off of this. Now, I'm going to pick at this. I hope I didn't block my viewers' visibility. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, which tool do I want to use here? I don't. That's too big. I'll use this one. All right, now I'm cutting in here, and this will kind of pull it. Yeah, that's not good because it's causing a shadow. You know what? Let me throw this light on so you can see. It's a little too bright. There we go, a little better. Okay, and I have to cut away. I'm taking away some of this eyebrow because it just feels a little too thick at the end. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, believe it or not. And if it doesn't, what's nice about clay is if the look doesn't look quite, good enough, it's simple to just put the clay back. I'm a long-time artist with wood. I've always done a lot of what they call relief carving, and with wood, it's unforgiving. You cannot make you make a mistake with wood, and it's go get another piece of wood because you got to start over again. I'm sorry, forgive my arm. I have to do this with the right angle. I wish I can. I'm just trying to smooth down this eyebrow. I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, now what I just did, and I'll explain it to you in case you really need to know, is there was a chunk sitting right here that just wasn't doing it for me. So I have this tool here. It used to be a round tool, and I bent this so it fits in there a little bit better, and it'll carve away. Yeah, this is pretty tough left-handed here. I'm a righty. Okay, that's looking a little better. I don't know, maybe I have it a little too thick all the way up because I really like that thickness. I don't want that. I don't want that thickness too. I don't want it too thick. And it's protruding a little bit too. It's coming out just a little bit too much, and that's easy to fix. But I think the eyebrow is almost where I want it to be now. Yeah, we're getting there now. Okay. Now that's looking a little better. That's looking a little like the right size here. It was just a little too thick. The eyebrow was a little too thick for my liking. And it's still protruding out just a little too much. I don't want it to cast too much shadow. See, as you put something like a downlight on there, this eyebrow will cast too much shadow. You can actually see it on the eyelid. See that little dark line shadow right there underneath the eyelid because of the overhead light? We don't want that much shadow. There's just a little too much. So what I need to do is I need to take my little scraping tool here, and we're going to keep cutting away until we get it down a little lower. Yes, sir. We're getting there. It's getting down a little bit lower now. Now I got the little noodles of, and whatever you do, you see a little thing, don't try to do it with your fingers, because if you see any of that scrap that falls down and it hits that sculpt, if you press on that into that clay, it's going to embed it right into that sculpture. So I take my tool and I just push it right off of there, no problem. Trust me, when you're working with this type of clay, this is a waxed based clay. The base of this wax is actually, the base of this clay is actually wax, and it's still got casting a shadow there, but it's looking a little better now. Now I'm trying to change the directions a little bit. Don't want just perfectly lined, because hair doesn't look like that. You don't want perfect lines. You want like staggering lines in different directions. Some going up, some going down. All right. And that's what I'm doing. We're working with fine detail now, so because I've got the depth almost where I want it. So now as I'm working in here, I'm taking short strokes and kind of going in different directions. You can see what it's doing here. All right. And once I get it down to, it's still got a little bit of, okay, well, I don't think I'm going to get away with all that lighting. I took this down significantly. I don't want to take it too much further down because, all right, so now I'm going to use this other technique. You see this rounded, it's kind of rounded here. I'm going to push that clay that I didn't quite dig out down to shape that eyebrow a little better. I need more light. I'm sorry. Sorry if it's going to be too bright for you, but I need to be able to see what I'm doing here. All right. Now we just take a little tiny smidgen of that clay off of there. And I think it's time for a little brush work. See if I want to make this shape any better here. Yeah, I want to throw a little bit more of a curve in here. Where'd my razor go? More of a straight edge here. Just a little bit of a Let's see if that'll work. You know, I need a tiny... No, I don't want to use that. I got to use my square. I'm going to have to use the square one. Okay, let's see. Now the key is, now I never like working from under the eyebrow, because usually that affects that eyelid. You got to be really careful with that. I'm scraping that down to where it's just about perfectly flush. Now I can turn that away. Yeah, we put just enough bend on that. Just enough bend on that, and I think I'm going to bend it just a little more just by putting some force. Yes, that's it. Yes. Okay. Believe me, that's a subtle, very subtle change that I did with this eyebrow. But now it actually looks good with the other eyebrow. And I have to do the same thing on this end. I have to take a little bit off the top here just to round it off a little bit better. Not round it, but almost like a little bit of a drop. Let me see. Yes, I have to take off. And just take that off with ever so slightly. That makes a world of difference. And I think I'm going to have to take a little bit underneath of this, just a little. Just a little. And all I'm going to do is put the straight edge on it. Just like that. Clean my blade a little bit. That's not what I wanted to do. We're almost there. We're almost there. Now I think I'm going to lower that brow down a little bit too. So I'm going to do that from this angle because it's very tough. I don't want to push too hard with my hand against this sculpture. All right, now I'm taking, push those little gnarly You know what? I need to turn that just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to have to retexture. Where I've been touching on the face. Remember, hair doesn't overlay perfectly straight. Every hair kind of has its own little direction. I'm working with a very hard clay, so it's a little more forgiving. You can kind of make mistakes and not have to, oops. Yeah, I'm just taking a little bit of that piece fell off. A little too much is on the back here still. I'm digging in pretty deep now just to lower the brow. Lower the eyebrow down so it's not sticking out on the mask too far. We're almost there. You know what? I think what I'm going to do to lower this brow a little bit more dramatically is literally just pull this, because it feels just way too thick. Feels way too thick. I'll resurface the texture. Now, up closer to the nose, I want it to be a little thicker, but I want it to taper off, like as it's going closer to the outer eye, it's thinner. You know what I'm saying? Always clean your tools as you're going along. And what I'm doing is, I got a little ball of clay here, and all I do is I just push my tool in there as I get this stuff on here. See, I got a little bit on here. I just push it in there, and then it just sticks to the clay, and there it is, that piece that was there. But that's what that's for. And now I got the depth where I want it. And now let me rake in those hairlines, because it was just a little too thick. I don't know. Everybody's different. We're all, if you're in the arts, you know, we all have our own little ways of doing things. I don't think anybody really copies anybody. They take the idea and they run with it, and then they come up with their own little tricks, bag of tricks on how to create their own techniques. Because it comes down to comfort too. I struggle with comfort because of all the injuries on my body. So one guy's way won't work with me. So, watching what somebody else is doing and trying to do exactly what they do, no. And whenever you do have to change, I'm sorry, let me just concentrate here for a second. There we go. Yeah, whenever you change your basically style, technique, it changes the way you actually do it sometimes, most times. And that's okay, because you might find a new way of doing something by accident that will get the job done more efficiently and quicker through discovery, which is really cool. So You know, don't be afraid to try outside of the box. Just because one guy's, if you're watching my video here, you know, do it to your comfort, you know, where you're comfortable. You can't completely trust. Oops, didn't want to do that. There we go. I'm just trying to flatten this out and create more of a divot. Yes, that's it. There we go. Yeah, it sounds like I'm going a little bit, you know, I'm manipulating probably pieces of clay the size of a pinhead sometimes, you know, and sometimes even less than that. But when you're trying to perfect a mask, you know, you don't, and this is what happens. I'll see a picture, I'll see a different angle of a picture, and I think I've seen just way too many Michael Myers masks and pictures, and, you know, and then all of a sudden I'll find something else and go, oh my God, I see it from a different angle. Now I have a better perspective of what that's supposed to look like. And that's what happens, you know, when we're going off pictures, two-dimensional pictures. We are constantly seeing something from just a slightly different view and going, oh, now that makes sense why this doesn't look right, you know. And then all of a sudden you make the adjustment and it's go, oh my God, there it is, you know. I just found the big secret, you know. So you know, that's basically it. You know, I'm pretty happy with this. Why am I messing with this any further? I shouldn't be. I'm happy with this. Okay, so the next step, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take a little naphtha and I'm going to wash in on the tops of the brows where I cut that clay away, especially on the other side. Let me open this can first. Where'd my little prior go? Yes. Man, this tool's so awesome. I got this solid steel. This is for dental. This is a dental tool. And I put it in here and I use it to pop my lids. Boom. This won't bend. This is tough steel. So, with that being said, I'm going to use a paintbrush. All right. And I'm not going to saturate my brush too much. I'm going to saturate it, get the old clay off of there. But I'm going to kind of shake it around. I'm shaking it inside the lid. See, it's inside there. This is a full can, so I'm kind of really, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take most of that fluid off of there. All right, and then I'm going to soften in here where I just got done sculpting. A little bit there, not much. It softens the clay. I'm doing the other side too as I speak to you. All right, and then I'm going to texture it. And I'll show you what I'm using to texture. All right, see now, the brush is really nice because what happens is it brushes out the imperfections of the clay tool. And yes, it leaves a little bit of brush marks. But what this does, this naphtha, is it softens the very outer edge. It softens the very outer surface. I'm saying the very outer surface of the clay. All right. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take my texturing sponge, and that's all it is. It's just a sponge. See this texture. All right, and I'll fold that over, and I'm going to press that into the area that I just worked on. Give it a nice texture, even on the eyebrow a little bit. Under the eyelid, because I put some. Now the texturing you want to definitely put on a Michael Myers mask, because when you add the paints and stuff, the shadowing is real important with this mask. Yeah, I'm still not quite satisfied there. It looks like it's a little too, I can see the ridges shadowing here. I don't know if this tool's going to cut it. Yeah, it will. Now, see, that's another thing. Right now, it's a little dangerous using a tool because I softened up this clay quite a bit with that brush of naphtha. So you got to be careful, 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 careful. You know, be very careful. And I'm smoothing this out with this tool a little better. Actually, with the steady hand, it actually makes it a little easier to work and flush and to flatten that out. Now, see what happened there? Like a dummy, I didn't clean my tool, and I got some of those, I call them boogers. All right, now I'm going to do the brush again, because now the naphtha kind of dried a little bit, and I just want to put just a slight moisture, not a lot, because I don't want to tear up the clay too much. So I'm really brushing off that brush real good. Now there's a spot right here that I'm trying to smooth out really good. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little bit better, a little less. I'm just tapping this on here. Creating that texture. You know what? The forehead's looking a little shiny. I don't want that shine. So what we're going to do is we're going to soften this. Just a bit. Took that shine right out of there, and it gave me a nice texture. See? Oh, you didn't see it. Up there it was shiny. Yeah, that dulled it down a lot. Okay. That's basically it. Now, that's a long video, so I know we're going to edit the hell out of this video. So you guys have a wonderful day. Peace. And here, let me give you a straight-on shot of what it looks like. That's the new eyebrow finished. Finished. Let me know what you think. Have a great day and a great weekend. I know we're supposed to get an Arctic blast, so stay warm and stay positive. Peace. Peace, 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 peace.